The one conversation that we've seen shape up take place over the last few days in multiple ways. Now, these are repeated criticisms that have come in from top athletes who have been participating in the India Open Badminton 2026. So from complaints of pigeon poop on the badminton court to air pollution that leading to withdrawal of a certain top athletes in the tournament, and that criticism hasn't died down the last few days. That conversation though has sparked a debate and has led all of us, all Indians, to ask one question. If we are looking at indeed hosting the Olympics a few years from now, are we in the right position to make that claim and aim for the sky without having worked through the real deal, the crisis that continues to exist on ground zero? So we'll start with that all-important story, and then we'll be shifting our focus to our person of interest this morning. Dr. Shubhendu Sen will join us as our person of interest. He has come up with a documentary where he's spoken of the life beyond the jail phase of an inmate. So incarceration, what really happens when you're let free, but you really are starting afresh and you're turning to art and theatre for that second chance at life. He brings out that wonderful story on The Breakfast Club through his documentary. He'll be joining us in just a bit. All right, let's start with how India's rise as a sporting nation has been steady, but the state of sporting infrastructure continues to raise uncomfortable questions. That question resurfaced during the India Open Badminton tournament at Delhi's Indira Gandhi Stadium. International players raised concerns about air quality, playing conditions and hygiene at the global event. There was another scene that sparked embarrassment. A monkey was spotted in the stands. Pigeon droppings could clearly be seen halting the play twice during the match. Once between India's HS Pranoy and Loh Kin Yew, and then during women's doubles semi-final, because these bird droppings fell onto the court. They were all over the place and then shortly after were taken to social media by some of these athletes. Now, world number 3 shuttler Anders Antonsen, in the meanwhile, pulled out of the tournament. He cited Delhi's severe air quality. He shared city's AQI reading on social media and said it was not safe to play in this air. Another Danish player, Mia Bitchfeld, also voiced concerns about hygiene and overall health conditions in the venue. Amid this criticism, there's another interesting comment that's coming from a public policy expert, Gaurav Gullaiya. He's flagged poor infrastructure management at KD Jadhav Indoor Stadium. He's spoken of how difficult it was for him to organize similar events back in the days, why they were forced to move the event to another location. Now, the Badminton Association of India has defended the tournament so far, and they say the playing arena met required standards and that the criticism had been exaggerated. The World Badminton Body acknowledged player feedback, but also said the venue remains fit to host major international events. But this is not a first incident, remember. There are such other minor issues that have propped up in the past. Major venues have faced similar scrutiny in the past. Arun Jaitley Stadium not too long ago in the national capital drew criticism over cleanliness, over facilities and overall upkeep during Messi's India tour. This is where the conversation starts moving beyond just one tournament or one stadium, because India wants to host more global tournaments. So India has spoken openly about its ambition to host the Olympics in 2036, which today makes us ask a few questions on The Breakfast Club. Is India holding itself back, not because of lack of talent or ambition, but because the basics keep slipping? Is this country truly ready to hold or host world-class sporting events on consistent basis? And what is it that's really holding India back? How do we bridge the gap between ambition and execution? Let's take that conversation forward. We're being joined by two experts this morning. Ayaz Menon, sports journalist, is with us, along with Vimal Kumar, former badminton player and also co-founder and director of the Center for Badminton Excellence. Good morning to the both of you. Hi, thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
It's a conversation that is only escalating, Vimal, and you've reacted to it. Very recently, you've spoken about it briefly, and you've spoken of how not all criticism should be pointed towards BAI. To begin with, why do you say that? What are your thoughts here?
See, as far as I'm concerned, if you look at it from Badminton Association of India's point of view, we have a world-class event brought to India. Compared to the badminton scene about 15 or 20 years back, we are consistently now, organizing an international event. And, when you're bringing such an event to the country, and, we are even on the lookout for increasing that level. It's one of the biggest tour event in the country, in the world circuit, 750 to, we are making it to 1,000 event. So when we are getting that event to India, it is the responsibility of everybody to ensure that that is sustained. Because with these sort of criticisms, we are going to lose out on it. Because Badminton World Federation might look at it adversely. The players are not happy. It is not good. So the more when I look at it, we have the infrastructure. It is the purely our inability to maintain this infrastructure, putting across a good event. You need the basic things like the toilets are not clean, the surroundings are not clean. The players are only talking about such things. It is more than the arena, and of course in Delhi, definitely there is an issue with the air quality and other things during winter. Maybe we should look at it.
Yeah, shouldn't all of this be taken into account? So let's not either host these tournaments at the time that
I don't agree.
pollution is at its peak, or move cities, no?
Yeah, move cities, yes. But everywhere it's the same. You look at it, any infrastructure in the country, the sports infrastructure. I'm very disappointed, whether you take it to Bangalore or whether you take it to Hyderabad or whether you take it to Bombay or Mumbai or whatever, you look at it, the basic thing, these are issues. The arena is fantastic. You can set up the arena properly, there's no issues with that. But the problem is, these are the stadium toilets are in such a bad state, So this is, why can't we do that? I mentioned like this earlier also, the international airports, the toilets are well maintained, so thousands of people use it. So, so why can't we do that? So it is there's a gross neglect on our part, we don't take care. And, so that is little sad, and because of these small issues, we say we are not capable of hosting a big event, or you're letting a sport down. So that I don't agree.
Okay. And it's not as though we're not pumping in more money. We're not coming up with newer projects, better infrastructure. Even the players' performance has gone up. The last decade, we've seen some significant performances, Vimal. So what really is holding us back? And if there's one area of concern that we really need to work on, why are we dealing? Or why are we not working towards it already? Mr. Menon, if I can quickly come to you. A lot of these international shuttlers have come out, publicly criticized India Open's organization. Some of them have said that we're not playing for the third time. Somebody's come out to say, Mia, for instance, Danish player, she's come out to say that I'm disappointed, second consecutive year, the situation is the same, conditions are the same. How fair do you think those concerns are?
I think it's not about fair. I think they should be of great concern for India. Remember, we are hosting the World Championship next. India is going to be the venue. We are going to host the Commonwealth Games, and I'm not focusing only on badminton. Though badminton is extremely important because India has become one of the dominant countries in the sport after a long period of time. And this is something that the world is looking at India, how you manage your affairs in terms of sport. So you've got the World Championship in badminton coming up. You've got the Commonwealth Games that we're going to host, and we have ambitions of hosting the Olympic Games. Now, this kind of feedback, which goes, these are international players. Somewhere I also find there is this disdainful attempt to taint these players as crybabies and saying, no, we are all doing everything well, and these people are just cribbing about nothing. But that's not the issue. I think their response or their reaction matters a lot to the International Federation, to the International Olympic Committee, and we should not take these things lightly.
And they can't be held responsible for being used to playing in a cleaner environment, right, to begin with.
I mean, everybody should play. Why only them? Even the
Yeah.
Indian players,
Yeah.
right from the basic,
True.
from their childhood, they should be playing in the right environment. I find this. I mean, a monkey coming into the court or bird poop, not once, not twice, maybe 3, 4 times. You spot it on the field. The environment in Delhi. I am from Mumbai, and this reminds me, in a sense, if I have to draw an analogy, that we've got the richest municipal corporation in the country, perhaps in Asia, but yet, every year we've got the problems of potholes, and we keep patting ourselves on the back, see how wonderful this Bombay Municipal Corporation is, but we can't get our roads right. So there is a lacuna that needs to be bridged. I'm completely in agreement with Vimal Kumar. There are so many areas in which we've done well, and why can't these things be managed? This is not the first time that this criticism has emerged. So from between the last 2-3 years and now, if nothing has changed, it shows sheer neglect.
Sheer neglect. And these are controlled indoor environments. So
Yeah.
it's not as though,
Exactly.
pigeon droppings cannot be
Yes.
controlled, that you cannot keep up the place, you can't keep it well maintained. Vimal, I want to understand from you another thing, and this is a micro picture. How do these kind of disruptions? So, for instance, you had HS Pranoy's game being halted in the middle. How embarrassing can it be? What kind of a toll does it take on a player's mental, I wouldn't say well-being, but just clarity? He's in the process of concentrating on his game, focusing on what he needs to do, how he needs to keep up with his moves, and then comes this kind of a disruption. How does it affect Indian shuttlers mentally when they're playing at home? Because they are playing, they're playing at home. Other people have been invited to play here.
No, these sort of disruptions definitely happens in international badminton. The power failures and small disruptions happen. But for us, the way it has been projected, it is the Pigeon poop. So such things,
Yeah.
really, just. But the players will cope with it, because it is a distraction for a few minutes, and then it gets cleaned up. They will carry on. But the whole the issue is not about that. The players, it is about the situation. Why should such sort of a situation happen? So that is something. It was quite embarrassing this time, because last year also I do remember Mia did raise this issue. When she played, and it's just been a problem because.
But isn't that unfortunate, Vimal, that a criticism
No,
like this, or a complaint
no.
like this, or a concern like this to begin with has to make it to the headlines for people's heads to roll finally?
True, because what I'm saying is, see, when such a venue is handed over to an organizer, why do you have to give a venue like such a sort of a state? Because you are allowing, because it is not maintained well. So that's why the pigeons are coming in, or the monkeys are coming. Whatever it is, why can't we do that? It is right at the center of Delhi. It is one of our prime place. And we have organized. It is one of the most prestigious stadiums in the country. In 1982, it was set up, Indira Gandhi Indoor Stadium. It was an air-conditioned, one of the best stadiums in the country. So such a thing, happening in such a place, I that is very disappointing. And then when you hear it from others, because because we are closely involved with all these players and coaches, they come to us, more than the authorities. So it's very embarrassing for us to face them. And so that is sad. Sad. We cannot afford to have such sort of glitches. When we are hosting big events.
Mr. Menon, if I just quickly move through the figures that we've picked up in terms of allocation, the most striking change comes from the government commitment. So it's not as though effort is not being put in the right direction. If we just look at the numbers, 2025-2026 budget, India allocated a record 3,794 crore rupees to the Sports Ministry, which is up over 130% from 2014-15. 10 years ago, the amount allocated was 1,643 crore. From that to 3,794 crore rupees. But what's the point of pumping in so much money, working on becoming a global power in sports, when these kind of small little setbacks are going to be deciding for the India story? How can India, being in this position today, being spoken of for all the wrong ways because of these 2-3 incidents, look at hosting Olympics in 2036?
Well, I think the issue is of accountability, isn't it, from the federation? It's not about how much money the government is spending. If after spending all that money, these issues persist, they remain, then obviously there is a huge problem. And this is something that needs to be taken up. I mean, if the government is disbursing money, it should also ask for accountability. And not, we are talking about badminton here, but there are several examples of other sports also where the federations are not meeting the required standards. Now, what my point is, and this is really the concern, that it's not that we don't know what international standards are. Our athletes, our badminton players are competing internationally. India is one, as I mentioned earlier, amongst the stronger badminton nations today. We've done exceptionally well, though the talent now seems there's been some kind of stagnation in performance, but be that's apart. I'm saying that this is a huge sport for India. Sports is a priority area in India itself, which is reflected in the government spending. If that being the case, we don't insist on our federations and sports associations delivering international standards or maintaining infrastructure to international standards, then there is a problem of apathy, and that's where the government should crack down. The sports
Yeah.
ministry should take the federations to task and say, what the hell is happening? This is not reflecting well on us as a nation with great sporting ambition.
And the last thing one must do is defend and deflect to the extent that you're pinning the blame onto some of these shuttlers, these international shuttlers who've been raising concerns that are problematic for them at an individual level. You may agree or disagree, but to just dismiss their concerns is also highly problematic. From a coach's lens, Vimal, what matters most to players at international tournaments? For Indian players as well, when they go play abroad, what are those basics that are non-negotiable for them?
It is not only for India Open, because I travel around and I see the tournaments worldwide. The badminton, when the organizers, lots of the time they do neglect the practice arenas and other things. It's not only India. India, it's more about the clean environment. The other places, the players' lounge and other things, the players are not provided the best of facilities. See, they are there throughout around the day. They are inside the premises. So providing, the players' lounge. For example, in Delhi, it was really cold. So maybe heaters could have been provided. That's an important aspect. So that in that aspect, I would find blame on the organizers on that front. That should have been addressed. But where most of the big events, badminton events, I do see a lot of issues for players, and it is neglected. It's not only in India, but for us, as far as India is concerned, we are emerging as a sporting nation. So it's all the more important that we don't give these sort of issues for somebody to point fingers at us and put us down. Because we have excellent hotels in most of the cities, but when we go to Denmark or some of these European countries, the hotels are so small. The players struggle to stay in there. If two persons cannot put their bags inside a hotel, whereas compared to that, we are much better off that way. But these are issues. But again, we have to improve. I'm only talking about cleanliness. We don't have that. We have to improve on that front.
Okay.
So that is something, yeah.
Mr. Menon, how typically is a venue decided, finalized? What's the process that's followed? If you or Vimal could just come in on this and tell us if there are enough checks and balances in place. So how does a venue get approved for hosting a tournament which is as prestigious as India Open Badminton 2026 in this case? Because it takes me back to when Qatar wanted to host FIFA. They had to go through some rigorous checks. So labor, construction, everything was checked on a microscopic level. Is that followed across sports, across nations?
I mean, the FIFA World Cup was a different kettle of fish. From creating the infrastructure to hosting the tournament, the whole process took almost a decade, and they were put under the lens. The Qatar government and the football federation for how the labor was housed while the infrastructure was being created to how the tournament was hosted. I think Vimal Kumar would be in a better position to tell you how these badminton tournaments are, or the Indian Open, for instance, is allotted to India. I think there is a
But
process
we
of
definitely
building.
need to set that standard, no?
Yes, but
Yes.
I completely agree with Vimal that cleanliness is something that stares you in the face. I mean, there's nothing that the Badminton Federation of India can do, or the Badminton Association, about the air quality in Delhi. There's not much that they can do about it. The next time they can, if they bid for the Indian Open, then they can look for another city to host. But there are issues like keeping the venue, the Indira Gandhi
Yeah.
Stadium, clean. That is not the responsibility of anybody else. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's something that needs to be addressed. That is really the issue.
Okay, Vimal, you want to tell us how is a venue decided, what's followed, what's the process and protocol in place?
No, yeah, I can very clearly tell you there are a lot of things. We have good ideas, good things in place on paper. It is the question of implementation. So we are very poor in implementing good things. So that is an area. So we all can sit and give so many suggestions, but it's all down there. It's everything is on paper. Everything is there. There is nothing. It's not rocket science or anything. Everything is there. So it is a question of implementation. So I would say the stadium authorities, whoever is in charge of the stadium authority, those maintenance and other things, we have to have pride and in our infrastructure and take care of it and keep it to international standards. What is international standards? It is not that you when you enter the toilet, you put some perfume or put some Dettol and give you a good smell. It is the whole thing. The main thing is that there is no running water many of the times in toilets. So that cannot be done in major cities like that. We are not I don't agree that we are a third world country. We have organized enough big international events. So these are things, it's a neglect. So that is something.
Because money is going up, medals
Yes,
are going
yes.
up. I think maintenance is a problem, no?
Yes, exactly. And implementation. Everybody
Implementation.
has, yes, implementation. So that is where we lack. And so that is something, the authorities, the government authorities, whoever is in charge, they have to. And wherever it is, whichever city it is, we build excellent infrastructure and keep it under lock. And the utilization of it. So that is something we should look at, and how it can be done. It is definitely they have a lot of good suggestions with them, and it is. I hope it is implemented.
Okay, we're in the last few minutes, but very quickly, Mr. Menon, this is not an isolated incident. There are several such incidents that have brought a bad name to how we're either hosting audiences or hosting international players. And the other example I mentioned in my opening was the Arun Jaitley Messi event, wherein people had paid up 6K, 7K, 10K, 12K, a lot more. Some of them had paid a lot more, and all they got were dirty seats. They didn't even get basic clean seats to sit on. What kind of a message do you think that sends out? And if you were to just lay out 3 basic principles that we can follow, so at least there's a good start to this change, what would that be?
I mean, look, there are 2 aspects to this. One is that what Vimal mentioned. I think that's perhaps for me the most important. There's a sense of pride that one should have. We are showcasing not just an event, but we are showcasing our country. When we host events like the Indian Open or the T20 World Cup or any of these international events, you're sending a message to the rest of the world how ready we are to embrace global standards. And if that message is in the negative, then it's not about how much money the government allocates, it's about how well it's implemented or not. So that pride needs to be and that pride comes with due diligence and accountability, imposing accountability at the last mile. How do you run it? You give the example of the Arun Jaitley Stadium. That itself, in fact, in a sense, to me, amounts virtually to fraud. You charge people $8,000-10,000, and then you give them nothing. And that's in another country, perhaps you could be taken to court. Not too long back, India cricket is the richest sport, but most of the infrastructure, most of the stadium across the country wouldn't have decent toilets, and certainly not enough decent toilets for women. Now that was the case then. That is not the case now. So I'm saying that there has to be a scrutiny, there has to be an assessment and an audit of where things are falling short, and strict action needs to be taken. Not about just strict because punishing people, but make sure that they're accountable. That things like what Vimal mentioned is so striking, that you go to the loo, you might have perfume and Dettol, but if there's no running water, what the hell? What have you achieved? So these are things that need to be looked at.
And just spraying the perfume or the room freshener doesn't end the problem, right?
It's so cosmetic.
There has to be some consistency, right? That you have to start from scratch and really keep up with that standard. Okay, very quickly, Vimal, the last 30 seconds, do you think sometimes you need moments like these? You actually need these kind of incidents to become stronger, better? This could actually strengthen India's systems for future tournaments.
Now, in my opinion, because these sort of things, when you, like I've mentioned earlier, India is slowly emerging as a sporting nation. So these sort of controversies, when it happens, I'm only worried that, people don't put in enough, funds for sport, because sport is slowly growing.
Yeah.
And, it is very important that, the image is good. So we cannot afford to have these sort of glitches. And that is my only concern, because India, we are looking at 2036 Olympic Games or whatever it is, but the investments have to keep happening for Indian sport. Any amount of money invested for sport is not a waste. That everybody, I hope, they can all, still keep that in mind and continue. Because
and there's time for the World Championship, so we want to still hold the World Championship. So let this not be a setback.
True, exactly. Yes, and I'm sure we will do a good job in August, because there won't be much of smog and fog and other things during the time. I'm only worried about the rainy season. I hope the water don't come inside. So that is something we should look at and rectify. Now it's up.
Just should be a stepping stone. Should be a learning lesson for us. This shouldn't stop us from really going for the sky, aiming for the sky, as we have been the last so many years. Thank you so much, gentlemen. That's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us this morning. With that, we head into a very short break. Coming right up, we shift our attention to a person of interest, an Indian-American physician, but beyond medicine, he's an author. And now we're going to be talking about his latest film, his documentary, Broadway Bars and Fortune. There's a very interesting story and thought there. We'll go over to him in just a bit.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Edward, would you like to come in on the point she's made, and especially when it comes to the issue of sovereignty for the people of Greenland? Do you think that this is keeping that in mind, given that they've already taken to the streets saying that we do not see ourselves as part of America, or we do not wish to be labeled as Americans in any way?
Right. Of course, you're 100% correct, Akansha, which is ironic. Here's this president who wants to listen to the American people, but doesn't want to give any other country the right to listen to its own people. And a survey, 85% of Greenlanders do not want to be part of the United States. So, so this is just rampant. This is just rampant ignoring the views of the people who live there. There's so many things I could respond. Okay, let's go politically. We know for a fact that Donald Trump is very worried, as is the Republican Party, about his low standing in the polls and about the likely outcome of the midterm elections, in which the Republicans barely hold on to the House of Representatives at present. A Republican member just died, and there's a resignation. They have a sliver of control. If there are any defections, they already will lose Congress. So and it's traditional in any administration that they have great difficulty. Donald Trump will be going in and becoming a lame duck. No, everyone is going to will soon be
running short of time.
Their own political interests.
Adele, I'm sure you want to come. Adele wants to come in on that bit with a rebuttal. Adele, while you weigh in.
Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina.
I'm just going to go ahead and
He's
cut
not
you off,
French.
Edward. Sorry, I'm going to say this.
Adele,
No, you don't need to cut me off. There's no need to
let's
cut me
not
off.
cut
Okay,
off
so
Go
anyone.
ahead. But
Let's
if you
not cut
consider
off
Tom
anyone
Tillis-
on
If
air.
you consider Tom
Adele.
Tillis fringe, then there's not much,
No,
really to discuss.
Adele, I
But
have a
you consider
question
Tom
with
Tillis
regards to
fringe.
the US economy. The exports have been going up for China. And if this is about hemispheric politics, where you are, according to Donald Trump, he wants to counter Chinese and Russian incursions inside what he says is a threat to national security of the United States. But isn't economic security also being challenged over here, where he's using tariffs as an economic weapon? And
some news on the broadcast: 21 people have been killed and over 73 injured after two high-speed trains derailed near Pandemonium in Córdoba city in Spain. Now, we understand that a train traveling from Malaga to Madrid derailed on J track, causing a second train traveling from Madrid to Huelva to also crash. Authorities are investigating this matter, and Spanish Prime Minister expressed condolences to the victims' families and loved ones, saying that the country is suffering a night of deep pain. CNN 18 Secretary Swaroop more on this. A very good morning. This is a tragic news coming in. More can you tell us?
Also, the big tragic right now standing on is that pool has already risen to T1. This high-speed train station took place in Córdoba, and the authorities are still trying to ascertain what exactly led to this collision. It has shown up just the countries where the EU president.
Welcome back. We now return with our person of interest, Dr. Shubhendu Sen. He's an Indian-American physician, but beyond medicine, he's an author and a filmmaker. His recent documentary is a story about second chances and what it takes to rebuild a life. Broadway Bars and Fortune follows the story of people who've lived through incarceration and how theatre and art has helped them find purpose, confidence and a way back into the society as citizens once again. So let's quickly go over to Dr. Sen, who joins us this morning to take that story forward and really tell us all about the film, the thought, the inspiration there. Hi, good morning, Dr. Shubhendu. Lovely speaking with you. Tell us all about it. So for this 39-minute documentary, we've seen already a lot of warmth, love being sent out, festivals, screenings, conversations happening around it. Did you expect this kind of response to begin with?
To be very honest with you, I wasn't really, because I was struggling to begin with to get any amount of finance. I mean, people loved the story. They expressed a lot of interest. They understood the objectives of the story and the potential film. But when it came to finance, it was hard to find. And virtually the whole documentary was done on a very shoestring budget. So I wasn't expecting such overwhelming response from all quarters, whether it's from the film industry, whether it's from the criminal justice departments of various governments, and it's completely unexpected, but I'm loving it.
Okay, tell us about the title. So let's start with that. Broadway Bars and Fortune. What's the inspiration there? Your film beautifully connects theatre with transformation, with second chances. What was that moment when you realized that this story had to be told, that prison doesn't have to be the end of someone's story or life?
Well, the title Broadway Bars and Fortune kind of reflects the objective of the whole story. You know, the story unfolds with this 92-year young David Rothenberg, who was very famously a Broadway and a Hollywood personality, a producer. And he worked with the likes of Elizabeth Taylor, Betty Davis, Richard Burton. What he did was, in the middle of his career, when he was slowly coming out of the Broadway and the Hollywood picture, he organized this society called the Fortune Society. And what he did was amazing. All these former inmates and prisoners, when they came to him, he wrote up a script and put them back on stage. So to me, it looked, once I joined the Fortune Society, I can get into that later, that Broadway or Hollywood was the real rehabilitation center. Because this whole arts and theater performance, that was actually creating such a complete healing effect on these prisoners. That was amazing and so comprehensive. So that's how Broadway came. Bars, of course, are the prison bars. And the name of the society, the organization that does all this rehabilitation, is called the Fortune Society. So that's how Broadway, Bars, and Fortune came. And it was compelling for me because of all the places that I worked, these type of organizations, I found this immensely, potentially healing force of arts and theater performance when it came to rehabilitation of these prisoners. And the effects are, telling and very compelling. And I thought that this had to be made. I had a long discussion with David. He's a great friend of mine. I am affiliated with Fortune, and David loved the idea. He said, Shivendra, go ahead and do it. This is a documentary, and this is my mission, and this should travel far and wide. And it has been traveling.
And we've tried to pull out some of those visuals as well of what the process looks like and how really are the audiences reacting to when all of them perform the way they do. But for you personally, how powerful was it to watch people rediscover their voice, literally, emotionally, all of this through theatre?
If you try to think about it, what exactly is theatre doing? Theatre is giving that person a different identity. See, they were born in a family of violence. Then they themselves got into violence. And then they were imprisoned. And there's a lot of violence inside the prison. And when they come out of the prison, there is another type of a violence. It's an unspoken violence, a violence of disregard, disrespect, at the best nonchalance. So when you give them a theatre character, it becomes like a catharsis. You know what I mean? Like, I have this stamped identity, I am a criminal or an ex-convict. Now I get the identity of another, theatrical, character. And for them, it's like a conduit. It's a passage to transition themselves from a quote-unquote criminal to another character of a play. That itself is the healing process, and that gives them tremendous amount of happiness. They're so happy. They're like little kids, and they're so happy that they're in a certain other character of another film. Some of them actually have gone on to be in films and HBO shows. So I think that's the essence of this theatre performance, taking away the identity of who I was and giving the identity of another character of a play.
What about the society, and was that a part of your mission in telling this story the way you decided to? Do you think the society is finally becoming more open to the idea that people do deserve a life beyond their worst mistake?
I'll be honest with you, the answer is yes and no. I hope it is yes, and it is yes from certain quarters. They understand. I can tell you from the response of this film, it has been very, very overwhelming, which is an indication, a reflection that people understand that. But by and large, there is still that stigma, and which is one of the most pragmatic problems that these folks are facing, because nobody wants to give them a job. For a crime that was committed, let's say a long time back, 30 years back when Jesus was born, you carry on that stigma to such an extent that when you're hiring that person, you're constantly looking at him or her as someone who has the potential of committing another crime. You're completely dismissing the humane part of that human being. So I wish that more awareness, we have more awareness and more education, that these are human beings at the end of the day. And to be honest with you, these are very profound and great human beings. When I first met with them about 10, 12 years back, I was completely, struck by their deep philosophy, their deep sense of humanity. And it's all circumstantial, to be honest with you. As I say, they were born in an ambience of violence, so they adopted into violence.
Dr. Shivendra, was there a particular story or a character in the documentary that stayed with you long after the filming wrapped? If yes, take us through some of these stories.
Their stories, when they talk to you, You know, one of the good things that happened in this documentary is that I have been friends with them for almost 10 years. You know, it's not that my relationship with them started with the camera. I've known them for 10, 12 years. I go out with them. I hang out with them. You know, I go to JCPenney and Macy's with them. You know, I wine and dine with them. So I became friends with them so they could open up. So I have lots of stories. You know, Casimiro Torres is one who was, you know, brought up in an ambience of extreme brutal violence. Like he and his twin brothers, when they were hardly 6 or 7 years old, they were forced to fight against each other. You know, those people, they made a ring around them, you know, with furnitures and stuff like that, and they were forced to fight. And they made money out of that. And the fight will only stop when one of them would actually bleed. And the twin brothers loved each other to death. So at the end of the day, they're bleeding, they would take care of themselves, and next day they are forced back into a fight. So that's the type of animalish experience that they had. And then there is this another great story of the same person, Casimiro Torres. He lost his father because he got into the world of violence. And then after many, many, many years, 20, 30 years later, while he was into acting, while he has already met the likes of Dustin Hoffman and Richard Gere, they all took interest in him, he's a good-looking fella, that his father found out from all these stage performances, and the two of them, the father and son, they met after 30, 35 years. What a beautiful story.
Wow. Dr. Sen, how many well-known film and theatre personalities have publicly praised the documentary so far? We've heard a few, we've read of a few in a few articles, but whose feedback meant the most to you personally?
You know, these are fairy tales that I would love to share with you. One of them is Christine Ebersole. She's a very well-known actress who recently had acted with Robert De Niro. She's from Amadeus, the Oscar-winning film. And Christine, when I approached her with a lot of trepidation because I didn't have the money to begin with. I just had my story. So by the time I told the story and the script, she was so hooked onto it. And she had known David Rothenberg from before, that she was willing to come into my documentary without charging a single dollar, and with so much amount of passion. And also Marcia Kurz, who had acted with Al Pacino in that iconic film called The Dog Day Afternoon. She's another woman who just jumped into the documentary just because of the message of the documentary, and with full passion. And then this movie got, you know, when it started to spread far and wide, John Savage, he's an iconic Hollywood actor from Deer Hunter. He gave a tremendous endorsement, and I also got lucky because I had a great crew behind me. You know, it's from the Tisch School of Arts and New York University, and so the production came out well. And as you say, and I was saying, the responses from this Hollywood quarters is also Tara Walker, John Oliver Tuttle. He's a well-known established director from Hollywood. They also showered praises, so it has been going far and wide.
Okay, Dr. Sen, I do want to ask you this. Do you think storytelling, and that's the form of art you chose, do you think storytelling art can succeed where policies sometimes fail? For instance, in helping people rebuild their lives?
You are 100% right on that. I believe in that. I am a physician at the end of the day. And so when I talk to my patients, I found that words actually create more of healing than just a single line prescription. And I carry that philosophy here. And this storytelling, these arts, these theater performances, they are so much more profound than, you know, correctional policies that we have. I don't even like the word correction because they are so traumatized. These are such traumatized souls that healing is the way to go, not just correcting them. And I can see the impact. You know, yesterday at the India International Center, this film was shown to a packed audience, and I had very respectable senior advocates, Sanjay Upadhyay of the Supreme Court of India, as well as Narayanan Hariharan, who is the president of the Delhi's High Court Bar Association. They were there and they were so moved. They were so emotional, and I'm very happy to say that they actually announced that they are going to take this film as some sort of like a role model in the criminal justice department, you know,
Wow.
to show how much arts and storytelling and theatre performance can go in healing these personalities.
And finally, very quickly, Dr. Shivendu, what do you hope viewers walk away with after those 39 minutes?
The thing that comes out of the documentary is basically that we need to go deeper than just the superficial crimes that these people commit. We need to go deeper, and it's an inward journey, it's an inward contemplation. We need to go deeper, and we will be able to find the intact human being inside these people. And art is one way, one conduit to go deeper inside. And we can be guaranteed that inside is an angel. They're all angels. When I first met them, I thought I'm going to give them a lecture as a physician. But when I saw them talk to me, you know, they say that you should not talk unless you can improve upon your silence. And this is exactly what happened to me. I was just silent and I let them talk because they are such profound human beings.
Well, thank you for seeing the goodness in people, and thank you for sharing such wonderful stories with us. Thank you, Dr. Sen, for truly speaking with us, and all the very best. Hope the documentary takes you places. All right, for now, we shift our attention, zoom out a little, shift our focus to stories that are being spoken of from across the country and around the world, from the world of entertainment and sports. First up, let's talk about the national capital and how it woke up to toxic air, biting cold, AQI crossing the 450 mark once again on Sunday. This has pushed pollution levels into the severe category. A spell of intense cold wave combined with dense fog sharply reduced visibility and worsened breathing conditions across the city. And with health risks rising, IMD has issued a yellow alert urging residents to remain cautious as harsh winter conditions persist. President Donald Trump has invited India to be part of a proposed board of peace aimed at overseeing governance and reconstruction in post-war Gaza. The White House says the main board would be chaired by Donald Trump alongside a Palestinian committee of technocrats tasked with governing the territory. A second executive board is expected to play an advisory role as plans for Gaza's future take shape. Thousands of people rallied across Serbia as university students announced a new phase of protests against President Alexander and his rule. The demonstrations, ongoing for over a year, have challenged what critics call an increasingly autocratic government. Protesters accused authorities of widespread corruption, blaming it for a deadly train station disaster in November 2024 that killed 16 people and sparked the nationwide movement for change. Actor Anupam Kher has announced the wrap of a major shooting schedule for the much-awaited sequel Khosla Ka Ghosla 2, saying nearly 90% of his work on the film is complete. Sharing a video from the sets, Anupam Kher expressed gratitude to the team and gave fans a glimpse of his return. The sequel brings back original cast members Ranveer Shori, Kiran Juneja, Parveen Labas, Tara Sharma and Boman Irani. Actor Bhumi Paddekar has joined the viral 2016 nostalgia trend, taking fans back to the early days of her career. Sharing a series of throwback pictures on Instagram, Bhumi called the year full of dreams. The photos capture milestones from her debut phase, including her first day on the sets of Toilet Ek Prem Katha, moments with Akshay Kumar and Ayushmann Khurrana. First Filmfare magazine cover and the ramp walk, the post offered a heartfelt glimpse into the journey that shaped her rise in Bollywood. Bollywood actor Amir Khan participated in Tata Mumbai Marathon on Sunday with former wife Kiran Rao and their children. After the run, the family interacted with the media, where concerns about Mumbai's worsening air quality were also raised. And responding candidly, Amir said, "Haan, abhi kya kare?" and also acknowledged that residents are not used to such conditions. His brief remarks have once again highlighted growing concerns over pollution in the city. Kareena Kapoor Khan grabbed attention during a recent late-night outing in the city as a video of her surfaced on social media, accompanied by sister Karishma Kapoor. The actor was seen stepping out gracefully in a simple yet elegant traditional outfit. A look won the hearts online. Bollywood couple Akshay Kumar and Twinkle Khanna celebrating 25 years of their marriage. Earlier, Akshay marked the milestone with a humorous and heartfelt post for his wife, and Twinkle has also shared a glimpse of their anniversary celebration, revealing that they spent the day paragliding together. Sharing pictures from their adventure, Twinkle jokingly summed up their relationship, saying they literally encourage each other to fly, winning hearts with their fun and enduring bond. Shah Rukh Khan turned heads at the Joy Awards in Riyadh, making his presence impossible to ignore on the international stage. Walking the lavender carpet alongside global stars, the Bollywood icon emerged as the night's biggest talking point. Dressed in an all-black ensemble and sporting a striking grey hair look, Shah Rukh dominated social media conversations worldwide. It's time for us to head into a very short breather. Lots more coming up. We get you some interesting reports and stories in just a bit. Keep watching.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
And so, news of broadcast, 21 people have been killed, over 73 injured after 200 people derailed near Adams in Córdoba city in Spain. We understand is that a train traveling from Malaga to Madrid derailed on a giant track, causing a second train traveling from Madrid to Huelva to also crash. Authorities are investigating this matter, and Spanish Prime Minister expressed condolences to the victims' families and loved ones, saying the country is suffering a night of pain. Senior 18 Secretary for more on this. Very good morning. This is a tragic news coming in. More can you tell us?
Also, the big tragedy right now standing on is that school has already risen to T1. This high-speed train collision took place in Córdoba, and the authorities are still trying to ascertain what exactly led to this collision. It has shown up just but several countries with the EU President Ursula von der Leyen also reacting. She's in solidarity with Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, who's saying it is a night of pain for the country due to the tragic reaction in the move. And Sanchez has already expressed his clear concern to the families and the loved ones of victims. Gone on to say that words can alleviate such suffering, but I want them to know that the entire country with their extremely difficult moment. Remember, emergency services are already working in a coordinated manner without rest throughout the night, and even
Welcome back. We return with the cricket update that the entire country was glued to all of last evening. Virat Kohli's fighting 100 lit up Indore, but it wasn't enough as New Zealand clinched the historic ODI series win in India. Mitchell and Phillips laid the foundation. India faltered early in the chase, and despite Kohli's brilliance, the hosts fell 41 runs short. We get you more in this report. Take a look.
New Zealand have done the unthinkable in Indore, a 41-run win, a 2-1 series triumph, and India suffered their first ever bilateral ODI series defeat at home against the Kiwis, despite a vintage Virat Kohli 100 that lit up the night. Put into bat, New Zealand rode out early pressure to post a commanding 337 for 8. Daryl Mitchell was ice cool, anchoring the innings with a superb 137, while Glenn Phillips flipped the momentum with a blistering 106. Together, they added 219 for the fourth wicket after New Zealand were 58 for 3, completely turning the game on its head. India's reply never settled. Early wickets hurt, and at 71 for 4, the chase looked fragile. Virat Kohli stood tall, fighting the battle almost alone with the magnificent 124 of 108 balls, his 54th ODI 100. Nitish Kumar Reddy and Harshit Rana chipped in with the crucial half-centuries, giving India a flicker of hope. But the asking rate kept climbing. The standout performer was Daryl Mitchell, a second straight 100 in the series. Total control under pressure. Virat Kohli produced a fighting 100 under pressure, scoring 124 while anchoring India's chase of 338. With wickets falling around him, Kohli mixed composure with calculated aggression, keeping India's hopes alive almost single-handedly. The decisive moment came late. With India still believing, Kohli fell at 292 for 9, caught in the deep. That was the end. New Zealand closed it out calmly, sealing a historic series win on Indian soil.
Well, we started with badminton and we've come to cricket. Before we draw the show to a close, we want to talk about the OTT releases slated for 2026. OTT slate for 2026 is looking stacked with some of the biggest fan favorite shows gearing up for their next installments. From Pigeon Season 4 to Euphoria Season 3 and The Boys Season 5, the new year is already buzzing with excitement. Let's quickly give you a lowdown with these top 5 shows all set to make a grand return. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye-bye.
"2026 has barely begun, and honestly, it's already looking like the year of OMG, it's finally back TV moments. Whether you are a fan of soft romance or messy teenage heartbreak, this year's lineup has something for everybody. So without further ado, let's dive straight into the biggest returning shows of 2026. Internet's favorite escape into corsets, scandals and swoon-worthy slow burns is officially back. This time, it's Benedict Bridgerton's turn to fall hopelessly in love with Sophie Bake, a masked mystery woman inspired by Sophie Beckett from the books but with a Korean twist, thanks to actress Yerin Ha joining the cast. Netflix is dropping it in 2 parts because emotional torture is clearly their love language. Part 1 releases on January 29 and Part 2 on February 26. Superhero actioner The Boys returns for its 5th and final season, marking the end of a series that redefined superheroes as bloody, political, deeply unhinged and yet completely addictive. Expect brutal satire, questionable ethics and the ultimate showdown when it premieres in April 2026 on Prime Video. Up next, we have Euphoria Season 3 finally dropping on Jio Hotstar after what felt like 600 years. Zendaya returns as Rue in a darker, more introspective chapter that digs into trauma, addiction, broken friendships, and the messy search for identity. The long-awaited season streams from April 12 on Jio Hotstar and had already sparked major buzz on the internet.
The world is rapidly evolving. It is also extremely interconnected.
Developments in the White House can change business trajectories.
Even affect the common man here in India.
That's where our long-standing partnership with CNN gives us the edge.
With 4,000 plus CNN reporters across 200 countries, our reach is unmatched.
And with renowned names like Fareed Zakaria, Anderson Cooper, or Richard Quest,
Our access to in-depth analysis is exhaustive and exclusive.
Whether it's conflicts in Europe and Asia,
the New York City mayoral elections, or trade wars and tariffs,
our partnership with CNN
enables us to keep our finger
on the global pulse.
to bring you reports and analysis
with unmatched authority.
Now that's a partnership that makes sense.
This is News 18 Network. India's
India's largest news network.
And breaking news broadcast, 21 people have been killed and over 23 injured after two high-speed trains derailed Adams Cordoba City in northern Spain. What we understand is that a train travelling from Malaga to Madrid derailed onto an adjacent track, causing a second train travelling from Madrid to Huelva to also crash. Authorities are investigating this matter, and the Spanish Prime Minister expressed condolences to the victims' families and loved ones, saying the country is suffering a night of pain. CNN 18 Saksha for more on Kansha. Good morning. This is a tragic news coming in. What more can you tell us?
So the tragic right standing in front of the train is the death toll has already been to 21 in this train collision took place in Cordoba, and the authorities in Spain are still trying to ascertain what exactly led to this entire collision. It has shaken up not just Spain but several other countries, with the EU President of the land for releasing